guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we have a book haul. I have not done a book haul I think since November or December of last year. So I have a ton of books here. I got a lot of books for Christmas and my birthday, and then more throughout the past like 3 months. So I am going to be splitting this book haul into 2 parts. This first part is going to be all of the romance books, and then the second part will be everything else. But most of what I've gotten recently have been romance books. Before we get into the haul, this video is being sponsored by Book of the Month. Book of the Month is a really great online book service for readers where every month they have a curated selection of new hardcover releases. Typically, in the past, they've always had 5 options that you can choose from, but they're going to be starting to expand with possibly having more than 5 selections. In March, particularly, they have 7 book selections, which is really exciting. They also have a really great skip policy where any month you can skip that month if none of the choices are to your liking, and you won't be charged. With my code Riley, you can get your first box for just $9.99, which is such a great deal for brand new hardcover books. So here are the 7 March selections. Tell Me Everything by Erica Kroes, which is a true crime story that gives a look into the life of this private investigator who uncovers evidence for a historic case. The Unsinkable Greta James by Jennifer E. Smith, which follows a musician who, after having a public breakdown, she reconnects with her father during a week-long cruise. The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, which is a thriller about this girl who goes to stay with her brother in his Paris apartment, but when she turns up there, he is missing. And as she's spending time there, she realizes that the people in this apartment building are all keeping secrets. The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James, which is another thriller, which follows a true crime blogger who is interviewing this woman who was acquitted of 2 cold case slayings, and through interviewing her, very weird things start to happen. Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma, which is a romance book. Very much gives like 10 Things I Hate About You vibes, about a love-adverse TV doctor and a hopeless romantic possibly having a spark of love together. The Verifiers by Jane Peck, about a woman who works for an online dating detective agency, and she is tasked with finding a client who went missing. And lastly, The Cartographers by Pang Shepard, which is a fantasy book about a woman who, after her father dies, she finds this mysterious map in his possession that leads her on this adventure and journey discovering her family's dark history. Pretty much all of these selections this month sound so amazing. I think the 2 that I'm the most intrigued by are Dating Dr. Dill and The Cartographers. I've been so excited for this romance, and this just sounds so cool. I really like literary kind of fantasy books, but like also I really want to read The Paris Apartment. I've been very intrigued by Lucy Foley's books. The Book of Cold Cases sounds good. The Verifiers sounds good. Honestly, all of these sound so good. So like I said, you can use the link in my description and the code Riley to get your first box for just $9.99. And thank you to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video. So I have a couple different categories. I have books that were sent to me either as gifts or from publishers. I have a huge stack of used books that I have found the past couple of months. And then I have a little stack of the new releases that I've gotten. So I guess I'll start with the gifts. These are a mixture of like ones from Christmas and my birthday, which was in January. So the first book I have here is Scarred by Emily McIntyre. This is the companion to Hooked, which I loved. It is a dark Peter Pan retelling. This one I believe is a Lion King retelling with Scar. It's a dark romance. That's all I know about it. I am so excited to read this. I loved book 1 so much, so I'm sure that I'm gonna love this one. I've heard that people liked this even more than the first one. Then we have The Business of Blood by Kerrigan Byrne. I've already read this and I loved it. It's the start to this Victorian murder mystery series. This very much reminded me of the Veronica Speedwell series. I think if you're a fan of that, you will like this. This is following a woman whose best friend was murdered by Jack the Ripper, and so ever since then she's sort of had this obsession with Jack and like hunting him down, and it appears that he is back and sort of leaving her clues to a couple murders that have been going on. And yeah, this was great. Such a fantastic start to this series. I'm so excited to read the sequel, which I think just came out. Then we have What We May Be by Layla Rain. This sounds so good. It is a polyamorous romance, and I think it's also second chance. So they were all together in college, and then one of them left, and like the other two stayed together, but they like always had this heartbreak over the one that left. And now he's back. He's an FBI agent, and he's back in town trying to solve a murder that happened. And the other two, Charlotte is the local detective, and then her boyfriend is a literary professor. So he comes back as an FBI agent, and it's like second chance, polyamorous, murders are happening. It sounds totally up my alley. And then we have Work For It by Talia Hibbert. This is her romance, I believe, which I don't know much about, but I've heard amazing things about it. This is one of the few Talia Hibbert books left that I haven't read yet, and I've been dying to. I believe it has like a grumpy hero. Sounds great. Then I got the entire Bergman Brothers series that is out so far. I had a gift card, so I used it to buy this, and I've already read the first two books, Only When It's Us and Always Only You, and I loved both of them so much. This series is just so great. One of the best things about the series is the disability representation in it. Each book has disability rep. The first book, the hero is deaf. The second book, the heroine has rheumatoid arthritis, and she's also on the autism spectrum. And then I'm not sure about the other two books yet because I haven't read them, but I'm just loving this series, and I'm so excited to read the other two books. And then I believe book 5 is coming out soon. And then I was sent from somebody, the publisher, Open Play by J.N. Welsh. So this says that it is about a hot young physical therapist plays a risky game with an Irish soccer player and his best friend in a transatlantic romance. Wait, is this polyamorous? Wait a minute. When an injury forces the 3 lovebirds to work in close proximity. Okay, I don't know if this is polyamorous or if it's a love triangle, but it sounds good. Irish soccer player. Okay, this sounds really good. I had not heard of this at all. Okay, then I have a small stack of new romances that I've bought. So the first one is I got the new recover of Ice Planet Barbarian by Ruby Dixon. I've already read this, but I had to get this new cover. I love this artwork so much. And I believe that there's also like some bonus stuff in here. But yeah, I don't know. I love this cover, like the colors, the spine, everything about it is just like perfect to me. Oh my God, I just noticed on the back. That's so cute. Then I got Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman, which I actually finished reading today, and I gave 5 stars. This is my favorite romance that I've read so far this year. This is a very dark romance, very intense, about this woman who is kidnapped with her sister's fiance. They're both kidnapped together by this serial killer who is psychotic, and his MO is that he kidnaps pairs, like a man and a woman, and chains them up in a basement and makes them fall in love with each other before he kills them. And he waits to kill them until they're in love with each other. It's so intense. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I 100,000% believe they're soulmates. If this doesn't end up being my absolute favorite romance book for the entire year, I'm gonna be shocked. I do not see something topping this. The last new book that I got is Ruthless Creatures by J.T. Geisinger. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a mafia romance that I know absolutely nothing about, but I've been seeing so many of my friends reading this series lately and raving about it, and I'm excited. Just from like skimming the back, it says that it's about a woman whose fiance disappeared, and then this mysterious stranger comes into town. She discovers he's been sent to collect an unpaid debt from my missing fiance, and that debt is me. Okay. All right, so then I have this big stack of all of the used books that I found in the past couple of months. So the first two that I have here are The Rebel and the Spy by Sophie Lark. These are, I think, books 2 and 4 in her Kingmaker series. I am currently halfway through the Brutal Birthright series, and so once I finish that, I'm gonna go into this one. This series follows the next generation from that series. It's supposed to be like Mafia Hogwarts, which just sounds so cool. So I was very excited that I found both of these used. I still need to get the first and third books, but I'm sure by the time I complete the Brutal Birthright series, I will have them. The next book that I have is Twist Me by Anna Zaries. So this is a captor-captive romance where this guy kidnaps this woman and takes her to his private island and just keeps her there. That's all that I know about it. I've never read anything by Anna Zaries before, but I don't know. I've been really into the captor-captive romances lately, so interested to see what I think of that. The next two that I got, I've already read. So I have The Dare by Harley Laroux. I really want to reread this. I read this back for Smutathon like last October, but I read it so quickly that like I know that I really loved it, but I do not remember a lot of the details, and it's so short, so I really want to reread it. From what I remember, it was like a bully romance where the girl bullied the guy. He was kind of nerdy and she was very popular and she was a bully to him, and then they get into this very intense erotic game of truth or dare. Yeah, I liked it. Then I finally have a copy of Born Darkly by Trisha Wolfe. This is the first dark romance that I ever read years ago, and it's still one of my favorites. I loved this. This is about a criminal psychologist and a serial killer, and he's on death row and he's doing therapy sessions with her, and through that they have a connection. This duology was just so amazing. Then we have Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, and I actually read this in January, and I have not talked about it at all on my channel. But yeah, I read it. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. I think had it not been as ungodly long as it is, it could have been 5 stars. I was listening to the audiobook and it just went on forever. It went on forever, but I did really, really love it. I don't think I'm gonna be continuing the series. I have watched the show and I really enjoy the show, and I think that I liked the book more than the show, but they're just so long. They're so long. I don't know that I can do it, but I'm glad that I did read this. Then I have I don't know what this duology is called, but it is Black Sunshine and The Blood is Love by Karina Halley. These are about vampires. I read the first book, sadly only gave it 2 stars. There was just a lot about this that did not work for me. The writing felt very like telling rather than showing, but I think that I might still read the second book because I did like the plot and the world was very interesting. I don't know, y'all who have read this will have to let me know if you think book 2 is better than book 1, but I was very unimpressed by this. Then we have King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. This is another one that I'm nervous to get into because I've heard both good things and very bad things about it, but this is also about vampires and it sounds so cool, like just the premise of it, and I've really been wanting like fantasy romances with vampires, so since this was kind of such a letdown for me, I want to give this one a try, but I don't know. So then we have Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. Very excited that I finally own a copy of this. I read this one also like years ago and it is still an all-time favorite romance for me, but I never had a copy, and this one is in like absolutely perfect condition. So this is a ex-boyfriend's dad romance, and this was the one that kicked it off for me and I think everybody else. And it is the reason why we love this trope so much. Then the last 2 books that I have are Inked in Lies and Dead Man Walking. These are by Gianna Darling. These are a motorcycle club romance series, and I now own every book in this series except for one, but I'm not sure which one it is. I'm missing the one with the guy with long blonde hair. Not sure which book that is, but that's the one that I'm missing. But I now have almost the whole series and I'm planning to binge them. And yeah, like I said, these are following a motorcycle club. So many of my friends are obsessed with this series. I cannot wait to continue binging it. So those were all of the romance books that I have gotten recently. Stay tuned in the next couple of weeks for part 2, where I will have all of the like fantasy and sci-fi and horror and thriller, just everything not romance. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!